My name's Michael Hall. So my role is Head of Digital at Elders, and I'd firstly like to, on behalf of Elders, say how proud we are to be sponsoring the Digital Innovation and Smart Agriculture Festival. I think that one of the traps that we can often fall into in digital agriculture is that we run events where we often have technology developers talking to other technology developers, or industry bodies talking with other industry bodies. And one of the major benefits of this particular festival, and what's attracted Elders to it, is the fact that it placed the focus on producers. So yesterday we saw this in action. We spent the day visiting various farms, and we saw firsthand how some of these technologies are being used. We're hearing feedback from producers on what they've found challenging, what they'd like to see, and what they saw value in. I'm going to talk a little bit more shortly about Elders, in regards to Elders' role in digital agriculture, but I can't stress that point enough, that unless the producer's at the centre of what we're trying to do in the digital agriculture space, then we'll never fully realise the potential value and the benefits which are possible. And as Sandy had up there before, some of those studies around the size of that benefit for the industry are enormous. So whether or not we can debate the size of that number, I think that we can agree that, that digital can certainly add significant value to agriculture. So what's Elders' role in the digital agriculture space? And this is a question which Elders had to consider many years ago. Certainly it's something which we as a business and in conjunction with Mark Allison discuss very heavily, and we still do, and we constantly review this today. And we had a number of options in front of us in regards to our role. Could we become a technology developer in our own right? Realistically, that's not Elders' core business, and I fear that had we gone down that path, I probably could have sent Elders broke extremely quickly. We could white label technology provider products. We could look to take equity in one or two different technology developers, and these were certainly all options that we considered. There are ups and downs with all of them. Were we going to be hitching ourselves to a wagon which in 3 or 4 years wasn't going to be there? Was it going to be superseded by something else? And were we going to be in charge of, I guess, our own destiny? In the end, we came to the conclusion that we were best served in using the relationships with our producer clients, along with the broad network of branches, agronomists and advisors, to work with a wide range of technology developers with the aim of assisting clients. This point about using the wide network of agronomists and advisors is a critical one, as it's something which has been pressed home in our own research recently. So we undertook some research earlier in the year around digital adoption to help guide our future digital strategy. What we found is that we can see clearly that where there is an advisor, such as an agronomist involved, with the producer working in partnership, that the adoption and engagement and ultimately the value gained is significantly higher. Adoption, as most people would attest in digital agriculture, is one of the greatest challenges we have. What we found in this same research is that the reason being that most producers are overwhelmed by the number of tools that are available to them. There's confusion around what value that each are going to deliver, and they're not sure about how to go about assessing each of those particular tools or how to set them up on farm. And in many cases, they need assistance in interpreting the outputs so that what they're not getting, or what they are currently getting, are coloured maps or graphs or tables, but what they want are these outputs to be translated into firm recommendations. And this is where we see Elders' role in the digital agriculture space. So what does that look like in practice? Well, we've done this initially via our Elders Smart Farmer app, which has been available now for a number of months, and I would encourage you to download it and take a look. That app's designed to integrate a number of different technologies and integrate them into a dashboard to deliver key pieces of information and alerts and notifications. For example, we take a data feed from sheep CRC in regards to sheep risk alerts. We take commodity price data feed from Neil Clark and Associates, spray forecast data via a Syngenta tool, and the list goes on, and it can continue to go on. The producer's then able to create a dashboard per property with widgets or tiles that are relevant to their particular property. Importantly, and this is an important point, that we aren't trying to recreate the technology that is already out there and that's been developed by others, but rather to integrate key pieces of data from those systems, attach them to a dashboard and link the systems via single sign-on. The aim is to extend the Elders Smart Farmer app not just to a larger number of data integrations, but to a broader service offering where Elders Advisor Network can leverage the power of these digital technologies in the advice and recommendations that they're delivering to clients. Therefore, Elders has taken the position that through the relationships we have with our farming clients, we can work with a broad range of technology providers and assist in bringing the benefits of those solutions to clients via our existing advisor and branch network. This does pose some challenges, one of which is how do we determine who we work with and how do we prioritise the various integrations and how do we validate the various technology solutions. Elders, in addition to our existing 160 plus branch agronomists who we have spread around the country, has also recently set up 2 new initiatives. The first is the Thomas Elder Institute, which is Elders' research arm, who works with a range of industry groups and universities on projects designed to overcome challenges faced by farming communities. Dr. John Evans is here today and can talk with those of you who require further information on how the Thomas Elder Institute is working with research bodies to deliver valuable insights to farming clients. We've also recently set up a new business under the name of Thomas Elder Consulting, and that is headed up by Graham Page, who isn't with us, but many of you may know. Thomas Elder Consultants work on a fee-for-service basis with clients, and importantly, they also have a role to play in the extension work and the validation of many of the digital agriculture tools which are coming to market. Over the course of the past 12 to 18 months, Elders has spoken to literally hundreds of technology developers, from startups to established businesses. Many of the technologies being developed are excellent and in a lot of cases are quite niche to certain segments of the market. However, generally, the distribution of these technologies is where the challenge is for them, and this is where Elders again can play a role. So I thought I'd just give a couple of points on background on what are the considerations are for Elders in any partnership or any technology innovation which we're looking at. And there are generally 4 things that we look at. Firstly, and this is certainly the most important of them all, is how much value does it deliver to clients? At the end of the day, if technology doesn't reduce cost, increase yield or increase efficiency, then we need to question whether or not we should be investing in it. And something which I constantly remind myself is just because we can doesn't mean we should. Just because technology is advanced to a point where we can have data scientists and developers producing some amazing outputs doesn't necessarily mean we should be investing the time and the money in them if the client isn't going to gain some tangible benefits. And it's, as I said, it's something which Elders we keep reminding ourselves on as we're presented with the next shiny toy to have a look at. Secondly is how easy is it to use? As I said, adoption's our greatest challenge, and we all know that as soon as something is difficult, we tend to put it on the shelf. Third, does it have demonstrated ability in field? And this really does hark back to what we saw yesterday. We saw it firsthand where we visited farms who had this technology set up. It's critical as part of our assessment of the digital technology that we can be confident that it can operate on farm. Elders, along with others in the industry, are investing heavily in trial sites and smart farms, which are being established with the aim of validating the technology on farm. This includes the ability to be able to do things as simple as setting up the hardware. So, you know, it sounds silly, but having the tools, you know, that the technology supplier has got the tools to actually go out on farm and install the hardware. In some cases, I know that that's been something which has been a challenge in itself. Fourthly is how our advisors can use it to benefit clients. As I said earlier, Elders believe that the adoption and the value from digital agriculture is much greater where an advisor is working in partnership with the producer. The ability for the producer to have a resource who understands the technology, the data, and can interpret the results, and importantly, translate them into firm recommendations, as opposed to just collecting data, is where the real value lies. So in summary, while Elders is 180 years old, like everyone, we need to continually adapt to the changing environment around us. And importantly, as I've said previously, we need to make sure that we are producer-led and not technology-led. Finally, I'd like to again thank Hugh and all the organisers, Joe as well, of the Digital Innovation Smart Agriculture Festival for putting on a fantastic event, and everyone for attending. Again, I'd say how proud Elders are to be sponsoring the event, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of the day, and thank you.